I'm Rachel, and today on Correct Your Bible, we are going to be talking about Genesis 10 and the dispersion of people groups. Now, I am rocking one of my husband's shirts. It is a shirt that represents the native Taiwanese people, the Aboriginals of Taiwan. So that is what I'm rocking today, and we are going to be talking about how these people got to where they are today. Hey everyone, it's Rachel, and today on Correct Your Bible, no, we are not talking about Eclipse 2017. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this image, and if you also follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this right here. Las Vegas 2017 eclipse coverage right now. Look at this weather out here. Look at that eclipse. Oh wait, no, it's straight up raining right now. Eclipse 2017 watch. Now, we are not talking about the eclipse. I feel like there's a way too many people that want to throw out like prophecy, 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 and this stuff never comes true. You can't trust people who call themselves prophets when the things that they tell you are going to happen don't come true. We are all awaiting Bible prophecy that was foretold all the way back in Jesus' time. You can't say, oh, we are awaiting prophecy and there might be like a 75, 60, 50% accuracy rate. No, if a prophet is a true prophet from God, it will have a 100% accuracy rate. And if anybody wants to go around talking about prophecy, blah, 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 and they have a history of saying things that don't come into fruition, don't listen to them anymore, because they are not a real prophet. That's why on my channel, I don't like to talk about prophecy. I don't like to talk about like, oh, this is definitely it, these 70 nations against Israel, blah, 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 at the UN. No, but we will be talking about the 70 nations today. Now, in the previous video that I did on Genesis 10, I did already go over why we have this genealogy. It's to explain who all of these people groups are that we have throughout the world. Where did they come from? Where did they go? We have a map of where everyone went to. You have people that went across Africa, you have people that went across Europe, you have people that went across Asia, and then they went across the Bering Strait down into the Americas and populated that area. So we have a history of who these people are, where did they come from. And if you're following me on Twitter right now, you will know that right now I am reading through the entire Quran, because everyone wants to say, oh, it's all misunderstood, it's a religion of peace. Really? And one of the big things that I'm noticing in the Quran is that you don't get an explanation for anything. So again, if you're following me on Twitter, you are going to see that I will read one of the chapters or the surahs, and then I will give you a synopsis of it in 140 characters, whatever Twitter gives you. And it will tell you like, believe, 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 or there's hellfire and death and wage war against unbelievers in every chapter. But they'll start introducing people and places, and unless you have already read the Bible, you would have no idea who they're talking about. Who is Moses? Who is Abraham? Who's Jesus? Who's Mary? Literally in chapter 2, they go from the creation of Satan all the way up to Solomon. Then they jump over and talk about Jesus with no backstory. But you see in the Bible, you are getting all of this information because God doesn't want you to just have blind faith. Oh, remember this story that I've never introduced? Well, this is a picture of whatever. That doesn't make sense. God respects you enough that he's going to literally lay down everything, give you all of the information, and then ask you to believe. He lays it all out, gives you an argument first, tells you a whole backstory, and then you are asked to make a decision. Not so with Islam. It's like, oh, well, if you haven't read the entire Bible, and then you haven't read the Hadith, and then you haven't read all these Muslim commentators, you don't know what is going on in the Quran. Like, if you hand somebody a Bible who has never read the Bible and you hand somebody a Quran, like a separate person, nobody is going to understand what is going on in the Quran. I guarantee you, because I have read the entire Bible and I have no idea, like, where all of this stuff is coming from in the Quran. It's very, very confusing. So we see that Genesis 10 is really laying out some key information in the Bible so that when other stories come up, you're going to understand, hey, I know those people, they came from this line. And we see that Moses, who is the one that wrote all of this down, is giving you these genealogies so that you can understand the promises that Noah said have come true, such as, Canaan is going to be cursed and he's going to be a slave to his brothers. Japheth is going to be increased. The Messiah is going to come through the line of Shem. Without Genesis 10, you wouldn't have this foundational information that you need to see that Noah was 100% correct with what he had prophesied about his 3 sons. Again, you need to be 100% accurate or else you're not a prophet. So, we see where all these people groups have come from. And then we're also getting sort of a timeline, because all of a sudden you'll have a little break in the genealogies. And for example, Peleg is mentioned, and it says that the nations are divided. Well, we know because Genesis 10 and 11 aren't in chronological order. One is an overview, one gets more specific, that when Peleg was born, which means everything's divided, that is most likely a time where Peleg was born during the time of the Tower of Babel, because the nations were divided by their new language groups that God gave them. So we can kind of figure out when things started to happen, where in this line did certain events happen, and then they talk about Nimrod, and that's going to have to be its own video. But we see in the Bible that God, number one, doesn't want you to just blindly believe him. He wants to give you foundational information so that you will understand the stories coming up. You don't need to rely on 1,000 different commentaries. You don't need to read special books. Nothing. You just have the Bible. That's it. You can read it. That's all you need. And you will be able to understand the who, what, when, where, why, how questions of the Bible. And that is what Genesis 10 is answering for you. It tells you who all these people are, when they went out, what they are, where they went. It doesn't necessarily tell you how so far, but we know from whence they came and where they went out from. But it also tells us why, coming up in Genesis 11, that they were dispersed. So we have these key components answered because God wants you to reason through your faith. He wants you to understand. He doesn't want robots. He wants you to understand what's going on. And he also wants there to be proofs for prophets. Hey, what this prophet said came true. We see Noah prophesied over his 3 sons, and what happens? Oh, those things we can see even today have come through. Japheth, the Gentiles have increased. The Messiah came through the line of Shem. Ham, even his line would be considered part of the Gentiles because only the Canaanites through Canaan were cursed, and those are the ones that mated with Nephilim. So that is why we have Genesis 10 today. It's to give an overview, to explain key components of the Bible so that in future stories you understand who these people are. And then you can see if what was prophesied matches up with actual history. Is it true? Can it be relied upon? And if you can rely on this one, that must mean all the other things that they said are also true. And we will see throughout the Bible that those prophecies did come true. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you. I hope that you will like, subscribe, and share. And definitely follow me on Twitter. It's at Rachel N. Stevens. And you will see that amongst all the other things that I post, I will be doing summaries of the Quran. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you. And I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.